Hey everybody, I'm Sonia Sade. I am a life coach with The Soul Collective, which is a lifestyle brand that helps women learn how to heal themselves from trauma, poor confidence, and a negative critical voice. We do that obviously through life coaching and then through a bunch of products that help women and men too to focus on self-love, self-reflection, and self-care. So you can learn more about all that shit. Link is in the About Me section and should be in the header on my YouTube page. But this blog is not going to be about life coaching shit at all, probably. It's just about life and shit we do to stay alive. So in that fashion, today I'm gonna show y'all a meal that I'm making when I don't have nothing to fucking eat in my pantry or my fridge. My new pastime with quarantine has been to see how long I can go in between grocery store trips without starving to death and dying. So I'm just almost at that point. I probably have to go tomorrow. But today I'm gonna make it do what it do because I was not going to the fucking grocery store today at all. So I'm gonna make a quick pasta dish that's super adaptable, and I'll show you guys step by step so you can make it too on your own when you don't have shit in your fucking pantry. Alright, so for this recipe, we're gonna be making a brown butter pasta. So you're gonna need butter, about half a stick. You're gonna need lemon or lime. I normally use at least half a lemon, sometimes a whole one, depending on how I feel. You're gonna need any type of vegetables you might have. I have these 3 janky ass fucking mushrooms that's about to die. I'm gonna use them. I have some cherry tomatoes. This is all the tomatoes I have left in my entire fridge. And I have these 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, and I'm gonna throw some cilantro up in there. Normally when I make this, I like to actually use something more herbaceous like sage or rosemary or shit, but I don't have it, so we're gonna use what the fuck we got. Parmesan cheese, maybe half a cup, I don't fucking know. And then to make up for the fact that I don't have sage, I'm gonna use dried oregano, dry basil, cumin. I'm actually out of salt. That's how much I have not been going to the grocery store. So I'm gonna use this to salt my water, and then, which is not gonna be enough, and then I'm gonna use this smoked salt to season my pasta, and if that's not enough, I'll use this. Again, I'm making it do with whatever the fuck it does, with whatever I got. And then black pepper. Don't buy pre-cracked black pepper. That shit's for losers. It's disgusting. You deserve better. Upgrade to a cheap pepper mill. I got this shit on Amazon for like $17. Buy you some peppercorns by the pound at Whole Foods or Sprouts or wherever you can get loose spices, and upgrade your life. And then for the linguine, for the pasta, we're gonna use linguine, just regular ass linguine. So that's the ingredient list. I already have my water about to boil. And for tools, you're gonna need 1 pot to boil water in, 1 pot to saute it, your brown butter in, and some kind of jar or measuring cup, something that won't melt, because you're gonna get a little bit of that salty, starchy pasta water for your sauce. Okay, so I'm going to show y'all how to make it. Also, another thing you need that I forgot is a colador. I don't know what it's called in English, but this, because I'm not going to be washing out no damn spaghetti strainer. I'm not going to do that. So this, if you don't want to wash out a spaghetti strainer, you just grab the noodles and pour them in the pan. If not, feel free to dirty up a spaghetti strainer. So the first thing we're going to do is put our butter in the pan. In the pan, self-explanatory. Now, if you're vegan, you just totally use a vegan butter. Vegan butter does not brown the way milk fat butter does because it doesn't have the same fats that come from cow's milk. So it's not gonna give you that same brown butter flavor and texture, but it'll still be delicious. I've made it a million times with vegan butter. I don't have vegan butter because I don't have shit. If you don't want to use Parmesan cheese, you can use nutritional yeast. I don't have nutritional yeast. Again, I don't have anything to eat here. So we're making it work with what we have. So we've got our butter on medium heat, like on a 4 or a 5 if you're in an electric stove. And we're just gonna brown it. So browning just means you're gonna cook it until you start seeing little brown caramelized bits at the bottom. And I'll show you what that looks like once we get to that point. So while we're waiting on the butter to brown, we're gonna start cooking all the other shit, chopping all the other shit. So I got my garlic. I'm just gonna smash it and peel it. Obviously, you don't want to eat the garlic peel. And just gonna, it doesn't have to be small or perfect. I actually don't mind big chunks of garlic in my pasta. So you're just gonna do a very rough slice, about that size. Doesn't have to be super small. and just gonna chop them all up. This is gonna give you a good flavor, which is perfect because I don't have any fresh herbs or salt or anything. So this will be a good contrast. Also, I love the way garlic tastes, and I love the way it feels when you bite into a nice sauteed piece. So if you don't like garlic, you can obviously use less. If you love garlic, you can use more, or you can omit it. It really doesn't matter. This recipe can be made with just lemon, butter, and your herbs if you want. Or if you want to spice it up, it can be made with whatever vegetable you have. I've added sun-dried tomatoes before, which has been really yummy. Sometimes I've just done the brown butter and the Parmesan. It is what it is, you know. Super adaptable. You can use any type of pasta you want. It does not have to be linguine or even a long pasta. You could use bow tie. You could use broken up lasagna. You could use macaroni. You could use shells. You could use whatever you want. There's really no rules except for just having the butter and having the citrus. And again, the butter can be any kind. It does not have to be cow's butter. It could be vegan butter or whatever your heart desires. So we got the garlic chopped up. Actually, I'm gonna add these other 2 ones because why not? There's no point in saving 2 little cloves for a rainy day. I actually hate having leftover shit in my fridge, like two or whatever of the last one. Like I always like to eat the last thing as quick as I can. Normally when I cook with garlic, I use my grandmother's pilon, which is just like a mortar and pestle, but hers is wooden. But I didn't feel like washing all that shit out today, so I'm just doing it with the knife. I want to have as little cleanup and as little things to wash as possible and make it super simple so we could already eat because I'm hungry as fuck. So I got all my garlic chopped up. Now I'm just gonna roughly chop up these mushrooms. I only have 3 of them, so I'm just chopping them in half like that, and then just a quick slice. Does not have to be precise. It doesn't really matter. It's going in pasta. It's not the fucking dinner for the king, okay? So just get the shit done. Again, slicing it in half, chopping it up small. If you have, these are creminis, but if you have anything else, if you have baby bellas or portobellos or even the white ones, you can use those. It doesn't really matter. You just want to get some type of substance up in there since, you know, pasta isn't the most healthy, quote unquote, thing for you, especially with butter, sauce, and cheese. So you want to kind of balance it out. So I've got those all chopped up, and that's pretty much it. We're going to check on the butter and see how that's going, see if it's browned yet, and then we'll come back and start adding shit in the pot. So I had to switch my burners around because this butter was acting a fucking goddamn ass. Like, it started splattering all over the kitchen and got in my fucking eye. Not cute. So I moved stuff around. This has never happened before. It's because I'm recording that it's happening now. But anyway, our butter is almost browning. So as you can see, it's getting nice and foamy. And that happens right before butter browns. So you just want to keep a good eye on it because once it starts browning, it can get from brown to burnt real quick, and then it will taste like shit and you won't want to eat it. But brown butter just means that the fat salad from the milk is browning the bottom of the pan. When you'll know it's ready because it will start having like a nutty caramelly scent. It's gonna smell so delicious, like you're gonna want to bathe in it. And you'll start seeing little brown bits that are caramelizing at the bottom of the butter in the pan. That's why it's really important to use a pan that has a light color bottom, like this color, or excuse me, cast iron, or even a really light pink, so you can see the brown bits forming. Because if you use a darker one that is like cast iron, you won't be able to see, and it'll burn really quickly and you won't know what's going on. So it's almost there. I'm starting to see a little bit of brown bits forming at the bottom, so you just want to swirl it around so that nothing gets stuck in one spot, just like that. And then my water over here is boiling. It's coming to a big boil, so I'm gonna throw this measly ass amount of salt up in there, and then I'm gonna let it reboil and throw my noodles in. Now when you're salting your pasta water, it's supposed to taste like the sea, but mine is not because I ain't got no salt. So, but ideally you want your water to taste salty like the sea, because whatever salt is in your pasta water is gonna salt your pasta. It's gonna add a big amount of flavor to your dish. So since I don't have salt, I'm gonna compensate by adding other flavors to the actual dish once we put everything in a pot together, once noodles get done cooking. Okay, so my water is back boiling, so I'm gonna add these noodles up in there. I did about half of a 1 pound bag, and I'm just going to push them down in so they can all get saturated with water. And then my butter is brown, so if you look here, See these little brown bits at the bottom? That's exactly what you want. Mine might even be a little bit too brown, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work. I'm gonna throw all my shit up in there. Mushrooms and everything. I went ahead and squeezed my lemon, so I'm gonna add those in. So I let my garlic and mushrooms sit for about a minute, just shaking it up. And then I'm gonna dump my lemon juice in there. I squeezed it earlier. It's gonna have a nice little sizzle effect that I love. And I'm gonna throw these these tomatoes in so they can start cooking down a bit, so that they get a little bit saucy and delicious. And then you just shake it up. And I'm really not gonna do much with this anymore. I'm just gonna put it on like low, like 2, and let it do its thing. And then I'll season it once everything is molded together. Okay, so everything's looking good. So I'm gonna add my seasonings to the butter. So a little bit of what the fuck is this? Basil, a little bit of basil, however much your heart desires. A little bit of oregano. I don't know how much. This is not really a measure. It's a coffee spoon, so I don't really know how much it is. But whatever, you know, do whatever your ancestors tell you to do. When they tell you to stop, stop. A little bit of cumin, because I put that shit in everything. For real, for real. I'm gonna add some of this smoked salt, which this company is trash because they shit always gets all caked up. I've never had smoked salt cake up like this before. It's real fucking annoying. But anyway, I'm gonna add some of that in there. It gives it a nice little smoky flavor, like if you have bacon or whatever in it. And then I'm gonna add some Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. Since I know my water is not gonna be heavily salted. And I'm gonna let it simmer, and then I'm gonna taste it, see how it tastes. The noodles are almost done. So you know, my grandmother taught me that when you're cooking noodles, you want to throw one against the wall, but really you just need to taste the noodle and see if it's ready. I like my noodles al dente. That's how they eat them in Italy. If it's good enough for the Italians, it's good enough for me. These shits is not done yet. They're hard as fuck. So we're gonna wait a few more minutes until they're done, and then I'll show you how we put the whole sauce together. Okay, so our noodles are ready. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this glass measuring cup and take some of the starchy pasta water. I might not need all of it, but you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. And then I'm just gonna take the scoop the noodles up into this pan. Now, if you're using smaller noodles like macaroni noodles or bow tie or shetty, I think that's how you pronounce it, you're gonna want to use not tongs, but like a little colador, if you don't want to use a spaghetti strainer and dirty that up. So it's up to you, you know, whatever makes you happy, but I'm not about that washing 50 million dishes life. And I'm probably gonna have to make more pastas, so it's good to do it this way so you're not pouring all the water out and then having to wait for it to reboil, because my son is always hungry as fuck. So anyway, I'm gonna add my Parmesan cheese in. Boom. Very simple. And we're just gonna stir this shit up. Now the starchy pasta water is going to make your sauce stick better to your noodles. So that's why we add that in. And then of course, if I had salted my water properly, like if I had salt, that would have added flavor to your pasta and you wouldn't have had to add extra salt, especially with the cheese mixed in. But I went ahead and made it work, like I said, by adding the Creole seasoning and the smoked salt and all the other shit. So just folding it in, making sure all the noodles are coated, making sure the cheese is melting. If you were using nutritional yeast with this instead of regular dairy cheese, and if you were using vegan butter, you probably, you know, you're not gonna have to really stir as much because it's not like the nutritional yeast has to melt per se. It'll just kind of incorporate because the noodles are so hot. So it's a little bit easier in that sense. Plus there's no grating of cheese because nutritional yeast doesn't need to be grated. So I'm gonna add a little splash of this starchy water from the pasta, and then I'm gonna dump some cilantro in there and just stir it in. Oops. Pasta is one of my favorite things to eat. I've tried giving up pasta before. I've tried only eating like chickpea pasta and lentil pasta and shit like that. I can't do it. It feels like a punishment. I don't want to live my life on punishment, being grounded. So I can't do it. Kudos to y'all that can though, but it ain't me. So anyway, whole wheat pasta just isn't as comforting anyway either. So I don't know what that means for my life, but here I am. This is basically done. I had put some breadcrumbs on the counter to add some razzle dazzle, but I was gonna toast them, but I didn't feel like it. I'm just gonna dump some in real quick, just for a little bit of texture. You could use panko, you could use regular breadcrumbs, like whatever you have. If you don't want to use breadcrumbs, you could just toast a piece of bread and just rip it up with your hand so it's kind of uneven, or post it in a food processor and add that in too. Like, there's really no rules when you're in the kitchen. The only rules that are in the kitchen are when you're baking. That's pretty much it. You know, you do what makes you happy. So this is absolutely done. And we're gonna go ahead and plate it and show you the final result of how it looks. I forgot to add black pepper, so I'm adding that in now. I love fresh cracked pepper, obviously, because it has more flavor than the stuff that you buy that's pre-ground, but also it adds a really nice texture to... My son's yelling because he's a jerk, but here's the finished product. It's a nice... Can you shut up, please? Thank you. Jesus Christ, y'all, don't have kids. It's a nice plate of pasta. It looks delicious. It tastes even better. I got the stamp of approval from my very picky, almost 13-year-old. So here it is. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you will save it, because it'll probably be the last cooking video I ever make. This shit is stressful as fuck, and I don't have the right setup in my kitchen for this. So RIP cooking videos, Soul Collective. Bye.